In order of the Griggs County Commission. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Sean is not here and Troy is here. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Dale, seconded by Mark to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Take a look at the meeting minutes from September 4th.
I think the tax equalization meeting needs to be in a separate,
Set of minutes.
yeah, I believe, because we closed out the meeting and opened and then reconvened the tax equalization meeting, so eventually. the
Oh, yeah,
tax
we went
equalization-
into recess
Right.
and then opened the tax equalization. So yeah, I suppose you're right.
So eventually, the tax equalization meeting will get, all the times that we've reconvened should be able to be pulled into one format.
Okay.
I think it got out of order, but the sentence that says there was discussion on the North Dakota Century Code regarding sales ratio study and tax equalization, I think that was part of the.
It was.
It got discussed, but it was, yeah, might have got discussed after we formally closed that meeting, but it was,
Do you want me to add it up there?
I
Even
don't know
though
how to
it,
do that.
yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Is because it was right after we closed, and then you.
Yeah, it was an afterthought on,
Yeah.
We didn't take any action. All
No,
we did was
no.
talk about it.
No.
So it doesn't really matter where you put it.
no. Okay.
Move we approve the September 4th meeting minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
I moved by Dale to approve the September 4th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to the bills.
We do have one that needs to be added, Andrew Marquardt, for attorney fees, and that'll come out of indigent.
Indigent. Yep.
Andrew Marquardt.
And that's for $333.
That was a court-appointed attorney, evidently.
Yep,
so.
I think so.
What's the deer credit one?
The Blaze.
3 of them? That's the lease for all 3? That's the annual?
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Kind of what I figured. But.
The one for the North Dakota Department of Transportation for $5, that is, I'm transferring the title to, out of the sheriff's name into Griggs County's name, so that we can get plates for it. We're worried that if we send a title in that's for the sheriff's office, they'll give us sheriff's plates. So we're going to do the title and then send this in. Do you want to sign it, or is that for me?
Go ahead.
Okay.
When you do that, you have to request a regular government plate.
That's you on the sideline job. You're way back and forth.
Probably carrying a rifle.
Motion, we approve the bill.
Been moved by Mark that we approve the bills as presented with the addition of Andrew Marquardt for $333. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Wayne?
Yes, sir. Yes, we're kind of seeking some guidance on the pickup that we were given from the sheriff's department. And I kind of just heard, people say that it's supposed to go to county agent. So I was just looking for some clarity on that.
I thought Jill always drove that weed pickup.
I don't remember if she drove it or if she drove her personal car and got reimbursed.
It always was sitting up here.
I think it sat at the county shop, but whatever, you know.
Yeah, we're not talking about the sheriff's pickup, we're talking about the weed board pickup.
Okay, well, the weed board pickup still got the sprayer and stuff in it.
What's this one sitting out here?
That's the old sheriff's pickup.
Oh, so
Oh,
we
is it?
we can use that one
So I
then.
brought it up here in case you wanted to,
Okay.
if you wanted to go and look at the crops and stuff.
So okay. So maybe we misspoke. Cause that weed one is a 3/4 ton to pull that water trailer and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I thought this was that pickup. I guess I didn't look at it very close.
And we still need to do some work on it because the coffee cup tray and stuff is just flopped in and out. When it was taken apart, some things got broke, I think.
Oh,
And the overhead master switch and stuff up, or lights and stuff on top is, but we can just bring it down or someday and we can offer you or something someday. And we
okay.
can pass it back.
I mean, I don't care. I just thought we just thought there was enough vehicles around here that we could.
Well, we got that 83 and that 88 combined.
Yeah.
And then it was the gas.
rides.
The gas and stuff, I'm sure you'll have to get a card for that.
Arrowwood
credit
or
card or
whichever.
JP Morgan card or something where you can buy gas.
Sure.
For next year, you guys put that in the weed budget. For this year, where would you like that?
He's probably not gonna drive too much.
There should be money in the,
County.
for travel in this year's.
NDSU budget, because we haven't had an agent
Right.
until now.
Okay.
So you're suggesting I pull it out of my budget for the fuel?
Probably till the end of the year, because we hadn't budgeted for fuel for this year separately, and next year it'll come out of the weed budget. We put $4,000 in the weed budget, I think, for next year
There was 3,000
in the extension agent for fuel.
yeah, well, travel.
Okay, so we can use that. I mean, if we run out, we can always fix it.
Mhm.
I mean, for now, it's just that sometimes the pumps are shut off, and if you know, if we're not there, like on a Friday or something, you wouldn't be able to get gas. You,
But it'd probably be easier for him to fill up uptown anyway, wouldn't it?
Sure.
So I'm confused here as to how this is all gonna work, because that was one of the reasons I wanted to come here to figure out exactly how it's supposed to work then.
What's easiest for you, Sam, to keep track of? Should you have a card or just a charge account at, or what do you wanna do?
Doesn't matter, I guess.
However, it's easiest for you to keep track of things.
Yep.
Do you have cards
We have JP Morgan cards.
so you can use them at either place, you mean?
Yep.
So,
And then
Have
the
you
county
got-
gets points back or whatever, credits back or whatever on those things. But in this year's budget, there's $4,000 in there for fuel. So that should
Yeah.
get us through this year.
in the
And-
extension agent?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then for next year, you guys budgeted $2,000 in the weed control budget.
okay.
So what's the use of the pickup? It's not to and from work, it's once a year for
Yeah.
farm visits and
Correct.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that was the other question then, is it just for in-county travel then? Or can I ever take it out of county to go to meetings, either in Fargo or other counties?
Well, I guess it would depend on the purpose of the.
I mean, if
of the
it's,
meeting.
if it's county business, then you should be able to use it, in my eyes.
If it's county business, if it's NDSU training, refreshers of something like that, then probably not, you know. NDSU has a stake in this also.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how it's been done.
Usually when we go to trainings, we just drive ourselves and then get the mileage back. But I mean, if you take a county vehicle, then it's just the fuel that way. Then you're not paying them mileage.
Yeah. Judging from the prior budgets, it hasn't been much of an issue.
True.
There hasn't been much use of a county vehicle for the NDSU extension service, so. Okay.
I'd like to change that. I'd like to get out and visit more often.
It's not a very big county, it can take you a long time to burn $2,000 worth of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, there'll be a $2,000 budget for next year for gas for that vehicle for me to drive.
That's what's in the budget, yeah.
But this year, it's gonna have to come out of my extension budget for the
Yep.
rest of.
Because there's 4,000 in there for this year.
And then next year there's 3,000 worth of travel in the county agent, and then 2,000 in the weed.
Okay. Alright.
I mean, I think you'll find that it'll take, if it happens at all, quite a while to build up a clientele. because there just hasn't been any use of the county agent for the overall farming practices. There's crop scouts, everybody has their own independent people doing that kind of work, and there just hasn't been
Yeah.
there just hasn't been a need for it.
No,
So I'm not saying that you can't build that up, but it's like starting a new business, I think. Most of the farmers are pretty set in the way they do business, and
yeah,
would you say some more?
yeah.
Nothing wrong with trying to
No.
build that, but I don't think it's stepping into a big void here.
You know, evaluating frost damage, knock down, maybe there'd be some interest in people having you take a look at fields and that sort of thing, and but it's under a rare occasion,
Yeah.
you know, that you'd have to do something like that. As long as we don't get Palmer Amaranth in the county, we should be good.
Well, one of the things that I had done back in Ohio and I'd like to do here is to write a newsletter every week, and one of the things I did was drive part of the county
Sure.
to observe what was going on, and so, you know, that's gonna
Yep.
be a weekly drive that I do in addition to meeting people and going out, and so.
Sounds great. Like we say, it's been a long time since we've had an active agent in the county, so.
So who would apply for the credit card, Connie or you?
Connie does all of the codes and stuff.
Or Connie?
Oh, there's not one currently?
I don't- I think he'd have to get his name on the card.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
I am in the act of purchasing a gravel pile out of Rustler Pit. It's a pile with the gravel with the 126 with. They've added a bunch of rock to it and stuff, so it looks pretty good. We used all our gravel up down there. And we've used almost all of the pile at the Christensen's. That'll be going in another week, I think. Gone, so,
We're putting it on ourselves.
and Tom had it measured and figuring out what it's gonna cost. You know, $100,000 in our gravel.
Where's Wrestler's Pit at?
Retzlaff.
Ooh, Retzlaff.
Jim Retzlaff.
No, I know where that's at. They've added rock to it since
We added
we
rock to it
since we
last
tried
year,
to use it before.
Before the project.
Okay. Jeff, do you have any other questions?
I just wanted to say thanks for.
Yep, Mel, welcome
supporting
aboard.
Extension in this particular position, and just thought I'd introduce myself. I come from Ohio most recently, was working in extension for 5.5 years there at for Ohio State University, and I spent some time here in North Dakota from 2008 to 2013, which is why I felt comfortable coming back. The only thing I hate is mosquitoes. I was the lead specialist for facilities for 2008 to 2013, and I'm glad to be back here. I got married in July. My wife is from Canada, and hopefully sometime soon the border will open so she can get down here. And because of that, we wanted to be partway between parents, so that's what brought me up here with this job opportunity. And my daughter plans to go to NDSU next year for college, and I can assist her with that. And I guess we pretty much have the truck figured out here now, so I appreciate that. Because I spent probably $7,000 worth of travel back in Ohio with the work that I was doing, but that included work going to other counties, speaking and that kind of stuff. So, and then just lastly, how often would you like me to come to the meetings, make a report? And what's your thoughts there?
Usually the elected officials and the department heads give us a monthly kind of update.
Okay.
So we meet twice a month, but
But it doesn't have to be in person. It's usually just a written,
it can be
It can be either way.
It can be either way.
Okay.
Depends on what
whatever.
time
whatever
permits.
is easier for you. But typically, the county agent did a newsletter, and that was what our monthly report was, so it served dual purpose.
Okay.
So we'd get the newsletter as the monthly report, and it would go out, be available to the residents also.
Okay.
Wasn't that how it worked?
I think so,
Yeah.
but yeah, you would see what Megan had done
Right.
prior, yeah.
So we'll work through that to see I'll certainly, once I get a newsletter going, that'll be weekly, I'll make sure that you guys are on that list so you know what information is going out, and we can decide from there how much more information you need or want from me. I just know that back in Ohio, we had met with our commissioners back there 4 times a year, and gave them a lineup of what things, activities we were working on. And then I still sent them the newsletter that I was working on too.
I mean, you can sure do that.
Okay.
If you ask to be on the agenda, we're not going to turn you down.
Okay.
Our meetings are usually pretty short.
Okay. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I know.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh,
Have a good weekend.
So, Lori and I went to some friends on Sunday night, and we kind of wandered our way up to Macville. And then I talked to somebody from up in that country today too. Is there something that you can do with those spots on Highway 2 that are going to pieces?
Yeah. They're heating the oil up right now. It takes a few days to get the oil hot.
Oh, really? So you just pour oil in them?
We got that distributor that you spray oil and chips, spray a layer of chips, spray a layer of oil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So now when I slowed down, they look like they're mushy kind of.
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
kinda
firm them
alligator.
up?
It does. Pretty good.
I didn't know if you had
It's
to
kind of
take
alligator cracked, you know.
take a backhoe out there and take it out and put a plug in there or what? I didn't know. I mean, I have no
We
idea.
do have bags of cold mix,
Cold
call
mix.
it, you know, oil.
I know I see the,
Driving around the country now, too.
Yeah, there is. So, wouldn't take much to fix that.
is that stretch of road on the horizon for doing something?
Well, it was, you know,
Okay.
when we were gonna have the prairie dog money, we had it, we had it set up to overlay again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know if, we know we're not gonna get anything?
Yeah,
Pretty sure we're
Okay.
not gonna get anything.
not for this year.
Not till 23?
Probably.
Not until oil goes up. Price on.
Right.
There's a leak in our bucket.
There's a leak in the bucket, yeah.
Well,
And there's money coming in every day.
It never makes it down this far. It gets allocated above our level.
Yeah, the bucket doesn't fill up. It's run out.
Dude
We
doesn't
still
put
will have
much
to do
in.
something.
Dude doesn't add much volume.
No, the state bucket's got such a big hole in the bottom of it, none of it ever gets to the small buckets.
Yeah.
Gotta run pretty fast.
You know, we are building up the funds that come from federal government.
Yeah.
The
North
federal
Dakota is
aid.
keeping, you know, to build up our share of the 80%,
Mm-hmm.
so, or 20%.
20%.
So
I just noticed it's kinda getting
it
bumpy.
is getting, it's, you know, there's weeds coming up the crack, maybe we could spray. No.
They look like they got froze now, they look dead
Okay.
now.
Yeah, so. It's in the works, but we've been doing some of the graveling yet, trying to cover up some of the black spots and the rocks and stuff before.
I had my driveway gravelled yesterday. Is your gravel getting dry?
Yes.
I didn't really like it.
Some of the
I mean, it's
piles
nice
that we've
gravel,
been
but-
taking out, some of the piles just been real wet. You know, some of the piles have been real wet, so then they've been able to get them down and pack them right away, but of course it starts drawing moisture out from underneath, so then it
I suppose the road's hot.
dries out. Yeah.
You dump that gravel on there and it warms up and away it goes. I mean, as soon as I got home from work last night, I got on the tractor and started leveling it, but it dries out in a hurry.
Dennis Haugens?
No, I had Jason haul it
From Jason's?
from Edstrom's pit. I mean, that's nice gravel.
Yeah, we used up our Hedstrom pit gravel too, the last of that. So,
But anyway, I was just
All right.
curious. Thank you.
you bet.
See you, Wayne.
Have a good weekend.
See ya. Yep. Tax equalization.
Oh, I make a motion that we adjourn the regular meeting.
Recess.
Recess, yep, recess. And move to tax equalization.
Been moved by John that we recess the commissioners meeting and move into a tax equalization session. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Tax equalization meeting to order.
So our percentages as far as the commercial, the residential, and of course the farmland, we don't have any much control over that. I mean, we don't, I think we should lower the overall value of the commercial property in Griggs County to the 0.1% above the minimum limit. Overall, so every commercial property value would be lowered by,
9.9%.
yeah.
And that'd put us at 90?
Yeah, well, I think we should be 1/10 above is what this, 1 or 2 tenths
Yeah.
above is what we all would do. I think on the residential properties, I think we're pretty close, aren't we, Sam?
Mhm.
Or are we at 93?
Nope, tested on the state side, and Griggs is at 100% commercial and 90.8 on residential.
Okay, so I think the residential can stay, but I think commercial should be lowered down to 90.2.
Yeah.
Overall, I don't think we should try to individually adjust commercial properties until later date.
If we lower them that much, are they gonna get tossed when they get to the?
We're within 90% that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure, but their practice has been that you have to be above the minimum level.
Yeah.
What's the value of the commercial properties?
the overall value?
I don't know. I asked Connie to come in, so just,
Okay. We'll just have to lower it, whatever it takes, dollar value to put everything in. Each individual property will have to be lowered
Yeah.
by 9% or whatever it is.
What is, what was?
It'll affect
residential?
everybody else, that's why I was asking how big a number it was.
What was residential? 93?
90.8.
90.8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that should be pointed out, that when we lower the commercial properties, that is going to put a little bit of a burden on the rest of the properties in order to bring in the dollar values that we have,
Budgeted.
yeah, budgeted. So the question is, do we want the commercial properties to pay more percentage-wise than the residential properties towards the maintenance of the county? That's a question for each one of us. I don't know that.
And ag land, is that what?
Like 91.8 or something.
You know, so we could bring that down by
1%?
1.5% and still be fine too.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Where we have the inequity here yet,
Between the townships.
yes, we have huge inequity on the residential properties in the townships. Where we have some of them, that a typical house is at $180,000, and the same house in another township is at $30,000. That should be fixed, but we missed the fixing date on that.
When you guys have your equalization meeting at the township level, I've never been to one. Does the assessor bring the property sheets in for the individual residential properties? They do.
Yeah.
See, the other way that this could be done on the residential properties and the commercial properties is we could ignore the 90% rule. And we could bring every property down to what we think the value of it is, and that they're all equally valued. If that takes it down to 50%, it doesn't make any difference, because the state is gonna come in and then raise the overall
Back to-
value of that property up, which will bring all of them up. So it isn't necessary that we get an accurate valuation of the properties. It's necessary that we get a equalization of the properties, whether that be at a real high price or a real low price, it doesn't matter. It's that, it's when you compare the two properties to each other,
So they're
they're
all the
valued
same.
equally, right?
No, they're all
Because the state has the ability then to raise it up so that it's all, so that
Well, they'll equalize it with the
they'll
neighboring-
equalize the state, yeah.
Yeah, with the neighboring counties.
Right. So it's really a pretty easy process, because we don't need any sales ratio studies or anything like that. What's the purpose of it? And it doesn't matter if that house is worth $100,000 and this one's should be worth $100,000, as long as we make them equal. The overall end result will be the state will raise it up to the 90th percentile anyway, and they're equalized. They're not equalized. They are, the value of them is raised, and that's what the sales ratio study does, is raise values. It takes the burden off the state of having to raise taxes on people. It really is what it does.
Yeah, they like to say
They like to say
raise
that,
taxes.
right, because they like to say that because they really shouldn't have the ability to raise property taxes. That's not granted to them in the Constitution. And they understand that there's a fine line there. So if they can push and make the counties raise the valuations so that they stay above that 90th percentile, it's in their best interest.
When, and then when I was on the school board,
Mm-hmm.
they would, they wouldn't they wouldn't come out with the state budget till after the date of non-renewal for teachers.
Right, yeah.
Same kind of deal.
And I fully believe if every county would force the state to raise those valuations, rather than the counties doing it for them, that eventually it would trigger a pretty massive legal action against the state. Because now you could say, well, why is the state raising everybody's attention? You get everybody's attention. Well, why is the state raising property taxes? They don't have the ability to do that. And they'll say we're raising valuations. Yeah, you are, but there are set mill levies, and when
Yes.
you raise valuations, you effectively raise property taxes.
Connie, can you tell us what the assessed commercial property value is in the county?
Not off the top of my head, I can find out. Anything else?
That's what we were curious about.
Okay. Not the total value they assessed.
We don't want the railroads and the pipelines and the stuff that the PSC sets the
Right.
value on, just the assessor
Just
stuff.
the assessors, okay.
Is that,
Including the cities or just or do you want a separate amount for both?
no,
Just the
Grand
overall.
total.
We were looking at possibly lowering the value of that property down to make it just above the minimum, the 90%.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
I'll be real
okay,
quick.
thanks Connie.
Thank you, Connie.
And that might not move the needle much on the levies.
If I remember correctly, I think the commercial property is 3% of the overall valuation.
So it isn't
of
gonna make
Griggs
any
County.
difference.
It's a pretty small number, if you throw out the,
Centrally assessed stuff.
yeah, centrally assessed stuff. That's just off the top of my head. It's a pretty small number.
How do you say that, Stackler?
So what else we got?
So if they got married in July,
In South Dakota.
how come she's stuck in Canada?
She's trying to sell her house up there.
Does she have her visa?
And
Well, the border's closed.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I think she drives bus. She did or whatever. There's a few things she's done. And
Okay,
Well, I don't-
that's not on the agenda, guys.
oh. You're going over there.
Are we on to something else that might take Connie a while?
You guys are still in tax equalization.
So we gotta wait.
Well, unless there's something else.
Oh, this is a separate recording?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to make it a 2-year thing and do a 5 each time?
Can't do that.
Because they'll
We're only able to talk about the 2021 budget.
okay. Well,
And it-
equalization.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't, what you guys did in the township, you can't do. You can't
Yeah.
obligate future,
Yeah.
Well, if it's only 3%, we might as well just do it.
Well, I don't know that. Just wait, let's wait and see. What's the overall value of the county? Have her bring us that too.
I got that.
Because that will, and that is with the.
What's
the
a mill
commercial-
worth?
the commercial-
22,000.
What's that?
So we're 22 million. Is taxable valuation is 22 million.
Yeah, and 220 million is the overall value of that.
440
440, excuse me, divided by 2.
times 20.
But this is gonna have a negligible effect on,
I agree now that we're talking about it, so we should just do it.
Yeah.
well, as long as we had her. make an informed decision rather than semi-informed.
The taxable value of the county is 22,068 or 22,068,512.
Times 20 is the
Yeah.
true and full.
It's true. 48 million. But she's gonna bring us the assessed value.
That'll be the true and full.
Yeah. So it might be a little higher than that, it is with Central Plains in there.
That thing's not worth, well, was it 20 million?
Yeah.
It was 23 or something like that they were at.
So that's 5%.
Mhm. And that was before, you know, that, the number that I was looking at was before that, that was when, so it might be up in the 7% range. The overall commercial property.
Just printed one off for everybody. And this should be the same total that's on your TXTOT sheets.
Okay.
Under CA.
Do we have the overall?
So
No, we
the
don't.
commercial, no, it doesn't add the lots and the buildings together. You'd have to do that manually. I should have done that when I was in there. 49, 44, or 50,000 something.
Mark, do you have two of them?
John has to.
Oh.
It's hoarding.
Not much. Hi, Jamie.
So grand total is 58,26,027, if I had it right. Okay. Hi, Jake.
$58.
50,000, or 50,826,027.
Right, okay, yeah, yeah. Are you adding Troy, so I don't have to? Or somebody?
Well, the taxable value is 2.2,541,000. So what's the value of the county is 22 million?
Well, I mean, we got the numbers here, just add the 443 plus the 8 million and the 46 million, and then
Oh.
what is the commercial property, what?
Times 20 equals, divide 443. I was gonna do it the hard way. That would have been the easy way. What's a mill worth?
22,000.
I was looking at the wrong levy sheet, sorry. The value of the county is 23,893,682.
That's 21. Right?
2020.
2020, we're doing the 21 budget, but we
Okay,
used
20.
2020.
Right. You looked at 2019.
Yeah.
So was that again 23 million?
23,893,682.
Okay. So it's 10.6% of the value of the county.
Yeah.
So if we lower that 9%, it's gonna raise everybody else 1. Right?
Mhm.
Or thereabout.
That's all you need from me?
I think so, Connie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So then it really depends on whether you wanna leave the tax burden on, the majority of just tax burden is gonna be,
On the rest of the county anyway.
yeah.
It's always gonna be on the egg land in this little part of our world. But
But I mean, do you wanna leave it on I mean, half of that 46 million has gotta be the elevator. Hannaford.
and the one here.
One here, not so high. I mean, yeah,
Oh, I bet it is now.
hasn't been,
1.2. I
yeah.
think.
That's it?
Yeah.
Well, I thought after they spent all that money, it would've been more.
So, what, does it stay with it, does it stay on the commercial property? Are the citizens happier to have it in the commercial property, to let an out-of-state corporation pay for some of this, a higher percentage of the services? I don't know.
They're not out of state corporation.
No.
Well, an out-of-the-area corporation, so I mean, that's always a question. I mean, some places do tax commercial property or let it be at a higher rate. That's the question. And that's probably by region in the county. I'm sure a lot of the people in the city of Cooperstown will say, yeah, let them pay. I'd rather have them pay a higher rate than raise my residential taxes. Some of the agricultural people would say, well, I benefit from having that there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a conundrum.
But then,
And then everybody would be very close. They'd be all 91 or 90,
Yeah.
but commercial properties have a bigger impact on the infrastructure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then that was the next point I was gonna make. We've spent an inordinate amount of the road department budget supporting
Yeah.
a very few amount of miles, but is that benefiting the growers or is it benefiting the facility?
But there's a lot of employees.
They're-
Hand and foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of
Both,
employees too.
But there's a lot of growers that aren't in our county.
I know, I mean,
Yeah.
you tell me which side you want me to argue, yes, I'll do it.
I think the conundrum statement was accurate.
It's one of these things where you have a hard time pleasing the majority, and if you just wait 5 minutes, you didn't. So they got time to think about it. So, in Mark's instance, where it would be fair if they're all at 90%, yes, it would be, but then in Dale's instance, well, they have more than their share of usage. I don't know.
That road between Hannaford and Laverne is gonna be an issue again. Let's hopefully their water board did some good to help with that road.
Oh,
That road between Hannaford and
between the
Laverne.
Central Plains and the
Yeah.
Laverne quit taking grain.
They did.
Yeah. August 31st, they took their last load. They always drove around the pavement anyway.
Oh, sure. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, they were
You'd
number
think so.
26 and number 1.
Ben don't like driving them trucks on the gravel or wrecks them.
They don't.
So to do nothing, the problem will solve itself. It will, next year, that percentage will be lower.
I don't think we should do nothing. But the decision is where we're gonna be. Are we gonna be at the 91, or do we pick some place in between?
I almost have to recuse myself on this, you know. I have commercial property that's involved in a number of different instances. So I'm afraid it's gonna have to be up to the 3 of you.
They're at what now? They're at 90,
They're at 100.
they're at 100%?
Yep.
I'll make the motion, we drop them to 91% on the valuation.
Been moved by Mark that we drop the commercial valuations down to 91% of
The intolerance.
the tolerance, the state tolerance. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
What was the percent again?
91. Drop the valuations by 9% down to 91. Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
I'll have to abstain.
Okay, Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay. Button this baby up.
Huh? Do you need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I think that's everything that we needed to do on the tax equalization.
Everybody else's intolerance?
Yes.
Yep.
The ag land is with intolerance until the state meeting. And we'll see what happens there.
Okay.
Because right now we're intolerance, but the state doesn't know the overall value of the state yet, correct? So that could throw it out of
Yeah,
tolerance.
and they're not gonna meet again until
Right. October.
October or something.
Right.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn the equalization.
Been moved by John to adjourn the equalization meeting. Is there a second? Second by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Call the meeting back to order. Tax Director.
You didn't have time to talk to the state yet, did you?
No. But I think we can do whatever we want. If we hire a contractor to do like we did this year, and then see if they'll do the actual equalization, or we just do it ourselves again.
Again, we don't need valuations to do the equalization. We don't need accurate valuations to do the equalization. We just need to make the numbers look the same.
No, but all the townships turned in
Right.
assessors sign
Yep.
valuations. We don't have to do
Yeah.
that.
No, we can just.
They have to give them. They give them to us, and they did this year.
Yeah.
All we need to do is equalize between the
Yeah,
townships,
we can just say this one looks too high, this one looks too low, here's the middle, just like.
like equalization.
That's why it's not even hardly explained in the century code and how you do it. It just says you must equalize.
So do you want
I
to
think
interview this lady, or do you want to have Sam write a letter back to her and say, thanks, but no thanks, we are pursuing a contractor to do this, and quit advertising?
That's what I would like to do. I'd like to pursue.
It's up to you guys.
I'd like to pursue the contractor, or maybe we're in compliance. I think we should do what is the minimum to stay in compliance.
Well, I think we're fine right now.
I know we
I mean, but I don't think we're equalized.
No, we're not.
I would have liked to,
But guess what? We've had tax directors for quite a while and we're not equalized, and it doesn't change every year.
I know that.
It's, once you get it equalized, it stays equalized. Then it's just a matter of adding new properties into that mix somewhere.
right. And then the state takes a sales ratio study and tells us if we're high enough or too high or too low. And we go to the 90% and we're good to go.
Well, we don't, in a perfect world, we wouldn't go there. We would just let them do it. They would
I
instruct
know.
Samantha to raise it.
I know.
And we would have less interaction with them because they would probably raise it up to a little higher, and then it would take a while to bring its way down again. But once all the properties are the same value, it doesn't make any difference.
No. So what are your wishes, fellas?
I think we'd spend less money if we had a contractor and have less troubles.
Yeah. Yep. It seems like it runs way smoother with the more local and the minimum control we can have. It seems it runs smoother. Got a little bumpy there for a while.
I didn't like it.
Well, it seems like any time we've hired a tax director, they've gone to the state and done their bidding, and the state isn't their employer, we are.
The long tentacles of government.
You know, that's. We don't need to deprogram them every time they go and get some advice, cause it's not what we
want, and we're ultimately, they work
for us, not the state.
That's
so.
right.
And they seem to lose track of that when they go to the state to
Absolutely.
ask questions of them.
Ask quite well and basically indoctrinated and instructed.
You know.
So that's what I'd be in favor of, is continuing down the path. We're looking for a contractor, looking to comply with the minimum that's required, and however we do that.
Is that a motion?
If it doesn't, I'll make a motion that we move to a contracting mode of tax equalization.
For tax director.
Yeah, excuse me, for the tax director, yeah.
Tax equalization director.
I'll second that.
Been moved by John, seconded by Mark, that we find a contractor to be our tax equalization director. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, would you write that nice lady a letter?
Thank you for the,
Interest.
Me sign it or you?
You can go ahead.
Okay.
Ann Carlson School. It looks like the Ann Carlson School is attempting to apply for a USDA rural development loan. And they need regional people in the region to express their support for the project. I called a friend of mine down in Jamestown. It's the construction company that built my house. They've done a lot of work at the Ann Carlson School, construction and reconstruction in 2011 when they completely got flooded out of there. And he said between the growth in the facility and the changes in the way they provide their services, that facility isn't, and plus it's in the floodplain, they really had trouble accommodating all of their residents when they got flooded out of there. So they're trying to move. And I know those guys they belong to the clowns down there, the Shriners. And that's one of their philanthropies. So he thought it was a good thing. They're gonna move right out by the Jamestown Regional Medical Center. They'll be right next door there.
No, I don't think there's any doubt that services like that are needed.
I think so too.
I also don't put any stock in the fact that the reasoning that we need to be on board or by not being on board is gonna make any difference. Well, by proving that doesn't make any difference. So I'm ambivalent towards it. I don't have enough information to make a decision, and that's where I'm at. I mean, there's lots of things that should be done. We should probably build a dome over Cooperstown so it's warm in the winter. But it probably doesn't make sense either. And I don't have any information on this, and I don't really need to have information on it because whatever my opinion on it doesn't matter anyway. And they proved it to us already with the hospital issue here. It was the same loan, and we didn't get on board with it, and it didn't make any difference.
So we did too.
Well, at the very end, yeah. But it wouldn't have made any difference. Binford never got on board with it. Some other ones didn't make any difference.
Did it get, I don't know what the outcome was.
The loan was approved.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, the loan was approved. I don't know what the
I didn't know
eventual.
if it was or not.
Yeah,
I believe it was.
Yeah, the $24 million loan was approved.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in the paper, wasn't it?
That was in the paper. It can't be, the funds can't come this way until they raise the 10%. Is that right, Jeremy?
I think so.
And that was, or maybe more than that, 4 or 5
It
million.
was either 4 or 6 million. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was, but that's what they have to do the fundraising.
So I'm not against or for this. It doesn't matter to me.
These guys have raised 11 million.
Yeah, they're of the 12. I mean, you know.
They're well on their way.
So what do you need? Need a motion to sign or?
I just need a motion that states that we support this project, and Samantha can just reply to that email and say the county commissioners discussed this issue in their meeting and passed a motion that the Griggs County Commission supports this project, and that's about it.
How about if I give you a motion that we won't oppose it?
I'm just gonna say that. We stand in non-opposition to the project.
I should show him my letter from the Federal Reserve when we bought the bank.
I think that would be more,
Oh, that's funny.
that we stand in non-opposition to the project.
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one. It's kind of a modified all over north.
Guys are learning government speak.
Yeah, can't confirm or deny it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's she gonna reply to that poor person?
What's that?
Just say that we're not in opposition.
Okay, been moved by Mark, seconded by John, to not oppose the Ann Carlson School USDA loan for moving and expansion. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
That isn't out of line. That leaves the overall decision to somebody that's closer to this whole
Yeah.
process.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. (2020) general. What do you got a polling place you're gonna have here in Griggs County?
We'll have it here.
Cool.
And the way I'm going to have it set up is in one way, out the other. I'm having a little bit of issues getting poll workers from past years. So I'll be looking for some other ones, I think, out in the county. And I do have a few, so I think we'll be good there. But I don't think that we need to go and hire any new employees to be, cleaning or anything like that. I don't feel that we need to be switching our polling hours. We're 9 to 7. I think that's fine. I don't think we need to do anything special.
We'll have hand sanitizer,
We'll have the hand sanitizer things.
masks.
I will have masks and I'll have Clorox wipes. And the state is actually purchasing pens for everybody. So that'll be like your I voted sticker. You get a pen and you go and you vote and then you leave and you take your pen with you.
We don't have to spray them down with Hilux.
No. So and if somebody wants to wipe off their booth, they can take a Clorox wipe and do that. I feel that, if somebody feels uncomfortable, they can do absentee. But if they want to come in on election day, we have the, things available, whatever precautions you want to take.
There'll probably be a lighter turnout because of
It's going either way. The state told me to plan for about, in 2016, there was about 500 people that came to the polls. They're telling me to plan for about 7 because of
Trump.
not
trusting the postal service.
No,
So,
Blow the trumpets.
so
So can you process 70 people an hour?
My mailman drives a Hummer.
I think so.
Probably not.
And we have all new equipment.
One of the things they did in Nelson County, and not to make poll workers work longer, but one of the things that they suggested from the Secretary of State's office was to open the polls up earlier. So in Nelson County, is opening polls up at 7 o'clock to try to limit the number of people that are in here at any given time.
That's kind of what they asked me to do, and I just said, we're just going to leave it just because it's been that way for years. I mean,
Unless everybody in the county talks to each other what time they're gonna come,
Mhm.
I see the little value in that.
and a lot of the time it's, right away in the mornings that it's usually a little bit busy, at noon and then after work. There's a lot of lull time in between there, so.
And that's a long time to expect retired people, for the most part, to work from 7 to 7 and then do the counting afterwards.
Too much. Let her rip, Sam.
And I was thinking, then that's like not having a bunch of added expenses to, the county for extra hours, extra people, extra this, extra that. I feel that we'll have a good setup. I think we'll figure it all out.
Well, if that holds true and more people turn out than normal, that's kind of a referendum on the whole bureaucracy itself, that people don't trust the bureaucracy, so they have to come and personally cast their vote.
And a lot of people are saying that they're not going to mail their ballot. They will drop it off in the drop box. So, that's.
So you don't have to put it on the ballot. Do you trust the bureaucracy? Just the fact that more people show up says they don't trust the bureaucracy. Okay, absolutely not.
Or we get 30% vote, that's pretty good.
That would be. But I mean, if people actually switch over from mail-in to voting in person, that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
Well, we get more than 30% that vote. Oh, it's
700.
over 50.
How many do we get?
Well, we get 1,100 mail-in.
Do we?
Or not 1,100.
No,
600.
1,100 ballots?
About 800. 800 absentees.
800 and 500. 1,300 out of 2,300. 2,200. It's getting closer to 2,200 every time I open the paper.
Yeah, true enough.
but a lot of the voters are getting pretty confused right now. There's, AARP has been sending out applications. The post office has been sending out postcards to all the voters, and they've already given me their application. So then I'm doubling up. Everybody's calling, making sure, well, I did this. And then I say, yes, you did. You're good. And it's been a,
Oh, you don't give them the company line? Vote
No,
early and
God.
vote often?
no, no, I reassure them. I've checked that you in the system. You're good to go. And yeah, no. But absentee ballots get sent out September 24th, so.
Old courthouse, new courthouse.
NDSU is over at the old courthouse as we speak. They are measuring everything. We had to go and find the keys to the tower. They're going to measure the tower and everything, so.
They got a LiDAR unit over there that just walk around in it.
Yeah, it must not take very long because that's a pretty big building, and
No, it should just walk around and it just sends out beams all over and measures everything.
Yeah.
Up, down, wrong,
Yeah.
height, everything.
Didn't we find the old blueprints for the old courthouse?
I have some blueprints or whatever that was like for the insurance things, but yeah, that's about what I have.
Yeah, they should be part of the exhibit, or down in the museum, or wherever this is gonna be. I mean, there's gonna be an exhibit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
That
would
should be
hope
part
so.
of it if the original ones are there. Those old time blueprints are neat too. I mean, they're drawn by hand, and they're very, most of them are pretty exquisite.
Anything else? Future business?
Future business, you guys will be talking about budget at the next meeting. Your budget hearing, or the next meeting will be at 4:30 because your budget hearing will be at 6. So we'll have the budget put on the agenda at that point.
Way to go.
What?
You remembered.
I did remember.
We forgot this every year for the last 6
No,
years.
I know. I got it this year.
She got a big sticky
Oh,
note
so
on
we
it.
didn't have it.
You didn't have a lull in between the day and stuff, yeah. So you guys will, your regular meeting will start at 4:30, the next meeting, so. I did just, contact Harold, and he is gonna be getting me the audit
Sure he is.
soon. But that's all I have.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Kind of get the impression that Harold isn't needed much, but around.
Motion to adjourn.
Been moved by Dale to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned at 3:50 p.m. Regular meeting on Friday, October 9th at 4:30 p.m. And on the 23rd at 2:30 p.m. What?
4:30, and then the
Oh,
23rd
and
I'll
then
be
a
at.
special session on Friday, October 9th at 6 p.m.